Hello again, this is Michael Fish back with your usual look at the forecast for the weekend and for next week. And of course this weekend is the Easter weekend, so it's an important one forecast wise. And the answer to that is there's absolutely no change whatsoever. We're not going to see the back of this cold weather, not this weekend, not next week, and possibly even not next weekend and after that, because we are very much stuck in a rut. We have this blocking situation with us and it's really virtually impossible to shift it. It really reminds me of the winter of 1962-63. It was a very good time, that was, for the Met Office, because I joined the Met Office, which of course is the major thing of all, the best thing of all. But at the same time, it was the era of the first computer forecast that the Met Office issued, and it was about the first time that they began to receive decent satellite pictures. So giant leaps forward took place in 62-63, but at the same time, the weather was just as stubborn, just as cold for as long as this particular cold spell has been, although the difference between this one is we're getting exceptionally low temperatures very late into the year, or at least into the so-called spring. So let's have a look at the surface level pressure pattern. All too familiar picture. We have high pressure over Greenland stretching across the north of the United Kingdom and into Russia, and we have low pressure in the Atlantic and another area of low pressure across Germany and France, and in between there's a squeeze of this cold easterly wind. Now the low over France will deepen and move away southeastwards, taking some nasty weather into southeast Europe, and then a new area of low pressure will form and that'll move in, maintaining the easterly winds, and it repeats itself early next week and again later in the week as the high this time tends to build over towards Scandinavia. If we look at the temperature of the atmosphere, it's hardly surprising that it's cold. That's the bluey colours, the bluey green colours. And that cold air is sitting over the United Kingdom, Central and Northern Europe. There is some mild air around in the Mediterranean, but that's about as near as it gets. The warm air does pulse a little bit further northwards into southeast Europe, parts of southern Russia, but the cold air stays stubbornly put locked fast over the United Kingdom, the near continent and Scandinavia. As far as the jet stream is concerned, again it's an all too familiar picture. A really strong jet stream, but nowhere near the British Isles, way down south, running across Spain and parts of the Mediterranean and North Africa, well below where it should be at this time of the year. So on a day-to-day basis, as far as Friday is concerned, there'll be a few snow showers in northeast England and eastern Scotland. There'll be a frosty start too. And then for most places the day will be dry, and there'll be some sunny spells around too, best in the west. But the wind will be picking up again. That cold, bitter east wind will be picking up across southern parts of the country as a band of rain approaches Cornwall and the Channel Islands. But that's as far as it'll get, because it will then slide away into France. But of course it will make the day feel pretty cold indeed with those raw winds picking up. So it is going to be a cold or very cold day. Best temperatures about 4 or 5 degrees, whereas the temperatures should be touching 12 degrees at this time of the year. On Saturday, perhaps the best day of the weekend, because the wind will ease from the north, so it won't feel quite as cold, although it will be a very cold day nevertheless, with some sharp frost early and late. Could well be the odd snow flurry perhaps still left in eastern parts of the country, more particularly I think near the coast. On Sunday, lightish winds to begin with, so feeling not too bad despite the fact that there'll be a really sharp frost early and late. Again there'll be some sunny spells, these best in the west. But as time goes on, that wind will begin to pick up again in the south, more particularly the southwest. So that very cold day will begin to feel bitter yet again. And on Monday and Tuesday, an all too familiar picture, that bitter wind with us, so it's going to feel very cold indeed. That wind with us throughout the day, even up to gale force along the south coast. So it really will feel raw there. I think on Monday and Tuesday, though, most places will be dry. There will be some brightness around, there will be some sunshine. It's best again in the west. And surprise, surprise, for Wednesday and Friday and through even into next weekend, it's just more of the same. So no let up yet. It's going to stay wintry for the foreseeable future. So despite the wintry flavour and the cold weather, I hope you're going to have a lovely weekend and can get out and about and make the most of it. And I'll be back again this time next week. But for now, goodbye.